Okay, guys, it's now time for part 2 of my 1,000 subscriber special. In the previous part, I showed you the 1 DVD and the 7 CDs I got recently. Now I'm gonna do a special MRS review in which this is a movie that, yeah, sorry, I just ate Cosmic Brownies and I'm trying to get it out of my teeth. It's a movie that I saw around Halloween, and it's now a Halloween movie favorite of mine. And I did a like or dislike video on this if it scared you. And I'm talking about Stephen King's It. Yep. The master of horror unleashes everything you were ever afraid of. Now, I did used to have this movie on VHS, but I got rid of it since the tape wasn't playing that good, because the picture would disappear constantly, and that was driving me nuts. So I got rid of it and bought this DVD. Anyways, here's the spine and the back. Whoa, careful. Alright. And it says, your every fear all in one, deadly enemy. And the only special feature on here is full-length audio commentary by Dennis Christopher, Tim Reed, John Ritter, Richard Thomas, and director Tommy Lee Wallace. There's the description right there, which I'll read right now. It can be anything. A fang monster that won't stay on the movie screen. Something ominous, lurking in the basement. No matter what your biggest fear is, no one knows it better than Stephen King. Based on King's 1986 bestseller, It is a jittery, jolting excursion into personal fear starring Harry Anderson, Annette O'Toole, John Ritter, and Richard Thomas. A malevolent force in a small New England town takes the shape of a clown played by Tim Curry. But he's not clowning around. Instead, he terrifies youngsters and brings some to their untimely doom, until some wily kids fight back. The evil resurfaces 30 years later, meaner, angrier, deadlier, and friends who vividly remember youthful terrors to reunite to battle it. Now, the first half of the movie takes place in the year 1960. And it's about 7 kids. Their names are Richie, Eddie, Stan, Beverly, Mike, Ben, and Bill. And it's 1960 in the small New England town of Derry, Maine. And they see a clown that can take on any form of some sort. It's a clown named Pennywise who eats children and terrifies them. And excuse me. And once they all get the idea of and it starts out with Mike noticing that it was the 6th recent child killing in Derry, and he calls off all 6 of his childhood friends to let them know what's going on, and to inform them that that the clown is back, and that they all have to go back to Maine in order to kill it off again. But like I said, the first half of the movie takes place in 1960, and what is it? And at one point, they try to go into the sewer to kill it off, but they end up beating it, but it doesn't die. It comes back 30 years later, and back in 1960, everybody promised that they would come back if it wasn't dead. And then in the second half, 30 years later, everybody returns, and everybody tries to figure out what to do in order to kill the clown off. And then later in the movie, when they go back down into the sewers one last time, they finally see the monster for what he really is. And once you get to the end and you see what the clown has been the whole time in the sewers, you will be in for quite a shock. For those who haven't seen this movie. And this is not rated, and it's 187 minutes. It's not rated because this movie aired on TV. And there's the disc. This side has part 1 and the other side has part 2, because the movie's over 3 hours, and it's in an eco case. And back to the story of this movie scaring people. This movie actually didn't really scare me at all. I mean, there was like maybe a scene or two that made me jump, but overall, this movie is not scary at all to me. For those of you who think this is scary, I don't know what's wrong with you. This movie is really not scary at all. There may be a few scenes that make you jump, but overall, this movie's not that scary. And I guess that's it. Not really much more else to say. Except this is a 2010 repackaged DVD, because this is the original 2002 DVD inside. So, I guess there's not much else to say. And, there you have it for this episode of the MRS. And, for me, and if any of you comment saying, oh, you don't say much, oh, you talk really slow, oh, I want to get through this, I'm sorry. I just can't really think of what to say about these movies that I review. But anyways, that's going to be it for part 2, and I'll see you guys in part 3.